Alrighty, here we go. Today we have a reading class. I can see lots of you in the chat already. For those people who don't know me, my name is Chris and welcome to this IELTS Daily free live class that we have every Wednesday. Today's session we're going to be looking at reading, and I'm going to be teaching you the super strategy, the strategy that I teach all students, and hopefully it's something new for you and it's going to improve your score overall. Let's have a look, see who is in the chat today. Lots of people in the chat. Hello to Deepika, hello to Akash. We can see two people there who are in green. They are our superstar or starter students. They are paid members of the channel, and that means that they get access to all our old live classes, which is great. Hello to Gulseva. Hello to Sandamali, really nice to see you. Hello to Janerke and Ankit, great to have you all with us today. Put up your hand if you think reading is difficult. What score do you need when you're taking the test? Do you need a band 6, band 7? What's on your radar? What do you want to achieve when you take the test? Do you think reading is difficult? Let's have a look to see what you all think. Lots of you saying hello, nice to see you all, which is great. Hello to Myanmar. I'm just going to have some tea. So Navani says reading is difficult. Jaideep says reading is difficult. Pikachu says they need 7. Lara Mac says they need 7. A few people moving fast now. So we've got Nargas needs a 9. 9 is really difficult. Hello to Ho Huang, needs a 7. Good to see Win needs a 7. Quinn needs a 7, and Kavi needs a band 8. Well, I hope that I can teach you a new strategy today which will hopefully, fingers crossed, improve your overall reading score. And don't forget, as always, if you like this video, if it's something that helps you improve, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up like on the video itself, because by doing that, it will help me and it will help other students by seeing this video. And given that this is a free class today, I think that's the least that you can do is give this video a like. So wonderful to have you all. Shall we do some hard work now? Let's take a look at our reading practice, which if you're doing the computer-based test, you will have the reading on the left, the text on the left, and the questions on the right, similar to what we're going to do today. But we're not using the software that IELTS uses. We're just going to use 2 documents side by side. Maybe that's how you should think about practicing yourself when you're doing it on the computer. If you can have your 2 documents side by side. If you're doing the paper-based test, again, you probably should have the reading text on the left and the questions on the right, just to help you out. So the question is, or the text actually is called Potions from the Oceans. And this, it's the same size as you would normally find in the reading task. So it's maybe 600 to 800 words. You've got them in paragraphs, which is similar to what you would normally find in the text or in the exam. And on the right, you will see that we've got some questions that you can see here. And in a typical reading section, you would find 12 to 14 questions usually. Sometimes 15 questions, but rarely. 12 to 14 is your average. Now, how do we go about this? What's the strategy? Some people, they find that their teacher tells them to do skimming and scanning and reading for detail. I think that's really hard. I don't think that's very helpful. I think it can create a lot of confusion. So my approach and the IELTS Daily method is to put it in the bin, skimming in the bin, scanning in the bin, reading for detail in the bin. We have one strategy for every type of question. All academic questions, all general training questions. It doesn't matter which exam you're doing, which type of question you're doing, the strategy is always the same. Okay, so if you're new to this reading technique, pay attention because it's going to be something that's probably new for you. So the strategy is as follows. We are just going to look at a small section. And this small section is going to be typically one paragraph. I think one paragraph is enough. So I'm going to cover this paragraph up, meaning that you can't see it. And that will prevent you from doing more than you should be doing. When we read text, we should always read any text at the top, including the text title. So the text title is Potions from the Oceans and adapted from the BBC Wildlife magazine. Hidden beneath the waves, myriad marine species hold the key to treating some of our most aggressive illnesses. By the way, when we do reading in class with the live classes, we should be aiming for 20 minutes. But when I read aloud and when I discuss things with you and we talk about the question, sometimes this takes a little bit longer. So be aware that the first time you do this, it might take you a little bit longer, but fingers crossed, generally the feedback from students is that your band score will improve because your accuracy will get better. Okay, let's have a look. I'll read with you. And I'm just going to check actually that you can all see, because sometimes I forget to come back to you all and see whether you've got some questions. So Farah says, firstly, we should read the questions. No, that's not our approach today. It's a completely new method. We should not read the questions first. Okay, that's the idea today. So you can all see, which is great. I'm happy. So you can all see. Wonderful. Let's have a look at this text. Think about harnessing the medicinal potential of the natural world, and images may come to mind of the archetypal explorer cutting a path through a tangle of exotic jungle. But in our constant search for new cures and treatments from the wild, attention is increasingly moving from land to sea. And at this point, we stop. And the most important thing that you can do is just try to remember anything that you heard in this text. And then we look at every single question that you find in the text on the right. So we'll have a look at our questions. The first question is, do the following statements agree with the information given in the passage? Medical research is increasingly focusing on marine environments. Medical research is increasingly focusing on marine environments. Can you find anything in the passage on the left which is anything similar to what the question is on the right? Does anybody think it's true? Does anybody think it's false? Or maybe not given, maybe it hasn't been mentioned yet. What's your opinion? Let's take a look at what you think. So, by the way, when you give me your question answer, when you write it in the chat, make sure you put the question number. So this question number is 1. You tell me if it's 1 true, 1 false, 1 not given, or 1 not sure. So I can see lots of you are coming through now, giving some answers. So Pritesh says true, Pani says true, Vu says true, Balwinder says not given, Layla says true, Kwang says not given. Remember that in the test, you're always going to be looking for kind of synonymous language which means the same. And if I spot something here in the text, it does say marine environments. Marine environments. And we've got the word medical research. If we look at the text on the left, it says increasingly, and it says attention is increasingly, so we've got the word attention, and then we've got the word focus here, so we've got increasingly focusing, and attention is increasingly. Then we've got the word marine, which means the word sea, so from land to sea. I think this is the sentence here, and this is almost definitely. I think this is definitely true. Definitely true. Okay, and that's the answer that we can see. So we put the word true. Great. Now, for those people who have never done this technique before, we don't stop here. What happens now is that you must look at the next question, and that's question 2. And if we find an answer, great. If we don't find an answer, we don't stop there. We actually go to the next section of questions. And the reason we do that for true, false, not given is because 99.9% of the time, true, false, not given answers are in order. Let me explain to you now. I'll show you what I mean. So we know that number 1 is here, and that we know number 1 is here. Now, it is really, really unlikely. It's not likely that you're going to find number 2 in the text before number 1. It almost never happens. If you can see here that we found number 1 at the end of this paragraph, so it is very, very unlikely that you're going to find number 2 somewhere before that. You probably won't find number 2 before. So let's check and have a look. So number 2 says, tropical rainforests offer more possibilities for investigation into natural drugs. I didn't read anything about tropical rainforests. I don't remember anything about tropical rainforests. So therefore the answer for number 2 is not going to be true, and it's not going to be false. It may be not given, but I don't think so. Now, what happens is we finished number 2, but we don't stop here. We actually go to the next section of questions. In this case, I think it's question 6. Question 6. We go down to question 6. Okay. Question 6 says, the challenges of bioprospecting are numerous. Now, when it's a question which is fill in the gaps or summary completion, the questions are more than likely in order because it's a summary, so they will put the questions in order. I didn't read anything about bioprospecting. Did you read anything about bioprospecting? No, it's not there. So it's not going to be, there's not going to be any answers here because the words are in order. Let me show you that again. So we've got the word bioprospecting. There's nothing about bioprospecting in this paragraph, so there's no answer. And there's nothing in here because question 7 will not be before question 6. It's in order. Okay, now we don't stop there. We move to the next section and we have a look at the next group of questions. Now, the next group of questions is actually matching. So you're matching somebody. It says match each statement with the correct person. And there are 3 people here. We've got Cassandra Quave, Dr. Julia Kubanek, and Dr. Angela Ziltener. Did you read anything about those people? Julia, Angela, or Cassandra? I didn't. But now I kind of remember some names to look for. So what happens is we have looked at the reading passage, we've looked at the questions, and what we've done is we've gone through focusing only on paragraph 1. This is the same technique every time. It doesn't matter if it's matching paragraph headings. It doesn't matter if it's yes, no, not given. It doesn't matter if it's true, false, not given, or multiple choice. Every time it's the same technique. And this is probably very new for you, but I promise you that your accuracy will go up. Okay? Now, we have looked at all the questions in this section. So we're down to question 12. Therefore, it's not number 9 because we don't know any of these people. So therefore, it's not number 10, 11, or 12 either. We go back to the top and we go back to paragraph number 2. Okay? And we're going to look at only paragraph 2. Tropical rainforests are treasure troves of biodiversity and possibility, but there are many other underexplored biomes worth investigating for natural pharmaceuticals, says Cassandra Quave from Emory University, who spent her early career looking at uses of plants in the Peruvian jungle. Now, I'm probably going to stop there because you don't have to read a lot. Yeah? It's really important that you just focus on certain pieces of information, and the more you do this technique, the more you can read in one section. We've read this paragraph, and the first thing that jumps out to me is the word tropical rainforest, because I kind of remember that from one of the questions, and also this person called Cassandra. Okay, and so what I need to do is go back and really focus on what that text said. Sometimes you have to read a couple of times, that's okay. But what I don't want you to do is to do this skimming and scanning and looking for details, because it's not going to be very helpful for you. You do have to kind of understand the main ideas, but you don't need to understand the really difficult words. Words like biomes, that's not an important word, but you might find it as a clue, or it might be an answer to something. Right? Also, by the way, if this is really new for you, it takes time. It takes time to practice. But I promise you, the method is going to help you. And if you like this video, please do me a favor and give this video a big thumbs up, a like on the channel. And I promise you, it will improve your reading score. Let's go and have a look again. So the question on the left, or the text on the left, I'm just going to read it again. Tropical rainforests are treasure troves of biodiversity and possibility, but there are many other underexplored biomes worth investigating for natural pharmaceuticals. There are many other, says Cassandra Quay from Emory University, who spent her early career looking at uses of plants in the Peruvian jungle. So number 2, tropical rainforests offer more possibilities for investigation into natural drugs. Tropical rainforests offer more possibilities for investigation into natural drugs. They are treasure troves of biodiversity and possibility. So what do we think there? Let's put your question or your answer in number 2. What do you think is the it's more about more possibilities. Where does it say more possibilities? Could you have a look and give me your answer in the chat? So for number 2, what do you think? Let's see what people say. So we've got some people for number 2. 2 saying false. So I've got a few people coming through now. Sogdiana says false. Harini says true. Jack Williams says not given. 0 point is all, it says not given. So this is an example where many of you now are split on your ideas. Some of you are saying true, some of you are saying false, and some of you are saying not given. Okay. Let's have a look. Hide your chat, sorry. Tropical rainforests offer more possibilities for investigation into natural drugs. And the question says, tropical rainforests are treasure troves of biodiversity and possibility. So they offer more possibilities. It says they are a treasure trove of biodiversity and possibility. I feel like this one doesn't say whether it offers more possibilities, whether it says that sometimes in the test, this question I think I put in here, because, and I think there might be something missing, than, let's say, for example, than the C. Let's put this in here, because one of the biggest tips for you in the true, false, not given, you will often have comparisons, and these will often be key areas for you to focus on. When something says there are more possibilities than something else, or something is faster than something else. Now, if it didn't say more than the C, let's just remove the than the C. If it said tropical rainforests offer more possibilities, it actually says that they are treasure troves. They have many treasures in them. So they do offer more possibilities. So the logical answer here would be true. If it says more than something else, more than the C, it doesn't say that, so it's not given. So if you notice the difference between those two, you should be aware that this would be, if it was more possibilities, it says true. And if it was a comparison and it said than the C, that would be not given. Okay, and that's an important tip for you to notice, that you should be looking for those keywords. Okay. Now, what did Cassandra Quave, what did she say? She said, but there are many other underexplored biomes worth investigating for natural pharmaceuticals. So there are other places to look. Now, we don't stop here, because we should always go, when we find an answer, we should always go to the next question. And that means going to question 3. Let's have a look at question 3. Question 3 says, humans have only recently started utilizing the power of the sea for medical treatments. Where does it say anything about only just started using the sea for medical treatments? Can we find that? I don't think that's in the air. I don't think that's in the part that we've just read. We only read to here. We've only read the part in grey. So just please focus on the part in grey. So we don't stop there. Now it says the challenges of bioprospecting. Now it's easy because I don't remember bioprospecting at all. So therefore we should know that bioprospecting is not there. Let's move on to the next part. And now we've got Cassandra Quave. And this is one. When we have to match people, we do have to read every question and we say yes or no, yes or no. So what we've just read, which was that there are other places available that Cassandra said. Let's have a look. Understanding the genetic components of animals. We didn't read anything about understanding the genetic components of animals. Marine life is an area of increased public interest. I don't remember anything about public interest. The sea is an area which provides area for further research. Further research. Let's go back and have a look. And it says there are many other underexplored biomes worth investigating for natural pharmaceuticals. It doesn't say there anything about the sea, does it? It doesn't say anything about the sea yet. It doesn't say anything about the sea yet. But I'm wondering whether this person will actually start talking about the sea. Let's continue. Closely watching marine creatures is an important tool. We didn't read anything about marine creatures. So what we do now is we go back and we finish the last little part of that paragraph, because maybe there's some hidden clue or hidden answer in there. All right, let's have a look at the second part. It says, with marine environments still relatively underexplored, medicine from the ocean is at the frontier of drug development. Now, all we do now is go back and look at these questions. Humans have only recently started utilizing the power of the sea for medical treatments. It doesn't really talk about humans. It says that they are underexplored, but it doesn't really say that they have only recently. I wouldn't say that. It's not given just yet. So we can move on to the next part. Bioprospecting. We haven't read anything about bioprospecting. And I'm always going to remember that word, and it's going to jump out to me sometime later in the text. Now, let's have a look at these ones here. Understanding the genetic components of animals. We didn't read anything about that. Marine life is an area of increased public interest. It doesn't say anything really about marine life and public interest. The sea is an area which provides area for further research. Let's have a look. It says, with marine environments, the sea, still relatively underexplored, medicine from the ocean is at the frontier of drug development. So it's at the frontier, it's moving forward, it's got lots more research to do. So I'm thinking that number 11 is definitely going to be Cassandra Quave. I think that's pretty easy, or we're pretty confident that that's going to be the answer there. So I think that's going to be Cassandra Quave A. I hope you all agree with me. So therefore we finish paragraph 2. And what you will notice, the first time you do this, I promise it will take a little bit longer. And when we're talking about this today, it's going to take longer. But what I do want to kind of hit home to you and push is to make sure that you adopt this strategy, because I promise you your accuracy will go up. Paragraph 3. We'll just do half of paragraph 3. And we always go back to the top. Marine bioprospecting, as it's known, may be a relatively new area of science, but the ocean has long been given up for its riches, has long been giving up its riches for use in traditional medicine. So I'm just going to stop at that sentence actually, because something has jumped out at me and I'm kind of thinking that there might be two answers in here. Marine bioprospecting, as it's known, may be a relatively new area of science, but the ocean has long been giving up its riches for use in traditional medicine. Let's have a look. Humans have only recently started utilizing the power of the sea for medical treatments. Now we've got the word on the left, traditional medicine, and the word on the right, medical treatments. We've got the word humans, and then we've got we don't have anything on the left, but I know that humans are using the sea for medical reasons. What do you think is the answer for question 3? And don't forget, put your question number in the chat. Put it so that we can see which question you're answering. What do you think is the answer for question 3? By the way, you don't need to repeat your answer. If you put it in the chat, you can just put it in there once. So Ibrahim, one of our members, says 3 is false. Saisuri says 3 is false. Prissy says not given. Harshit says false. 3. Prissy says not given. Okay. Some of you are saying, Pani says false. Some of you are saying not given. A few of you are saying not given. And some of you are saying false. I think this answer is pretty clearly in the text. We'll have a look at what it says there. In the text, it says, but the ocean has long been giving up its riches for use in traditional medicine. That one there is definitely, it's been doing it for a long time. And number 3 says that they have only recently. So this one is definitely false. Definitely false. Remember that the way to know that, and lots of you struggle with this, by the way, the way to notice the difference between true, false, and not given. True means that the text and the question are synonymous. They use synonymous language. Whatever is said in the question is paraphrased in and has the same meaning in the text. Okay? So basically, A is A. In the false questions, A cannot be B. Okay, so it's the contradiction, it's the opposite. So if it says that let's give you an example. A recent space project was the most expensive space project ever in the history of mankind. And in the question, it might say something like, there was another project which cost more than this space project. So it basically says something in a different way, but it's contradictory. This one says that it's the most expensive, and the question says that there's another project which is more expensive. And that thing is contradictory. They're not the same. What the other project is more expensive, and so therefore it would definitely be false. It has to be contradictory. Not given questions are usually questions which are completely irrelevant to the topic, okay? And lots of you struggle with the difference between not given and false. The main difference is that for false questions, it has to be contradictory. You have to be able to justify your answer and say, actually here it says something, and in the text it says something which is the opposite. Okay, so in this particular question, it says that they have long been giving up its riches, and in the question it says they have only recently. And this idea of something's been happening for a long time and recently, they're not the same, they're the opposites. So therefore this would be false. But remember, we don't stop here. We look at the next question. The next question is, some countries are more successful in finding cures from marine sources. We didn't read anything about countries in that particular small section. The challenges of bioprospecting are numerous. Okay, let's look at the question, the text, forgive me, and it doesn't say in this small sentence that we've read, there's nothing about the challenges or the problems with marine bioprospecting, so we can pretty much stop there. Number 9, understanding the genetic components of animals, no mention. Marine life is an area with increased public interest, not mentioned. Closely watching marine creatures is an important tool, not mentioned. We stop there, and now we go back to the second part of this paragraph. Let's go back. In the Aegean Islands, locals collect the fresh leaves of Neptune grass from the seabed and use them as compress to treat hemorrhoids. Meanwhile, seahorses are used in traditional medicine around the world, particularly in China, says Sarah Foster, research associate in the Project Seahorse. Large-scale consumption has also been documented in Indonesia and Vietnam. So, some countries are more successful in finding cures for marine sources. I don't think there was anything there about success, particularly for marine creatures. So we can stop there. The challenges of bioprospecting. I didn't read anything about the challenges of bioprospecting. We had the lady on the left, which was Sarah Foster, but Sarah Foster is not mentioned in here. So we can pretty much not read any further. There was no mention of Cassandra, Julia, or Angela. Good. Let's read this paragraph. Marine pharmaceuticals first emerged in the 1950s with a shallow water sponge that grows in the Caribbean Sea. With no scales or hide to protect itself, nor teeth, claws, or spines to defend itself, this sedentary species relies instead on an unseen chemical arsenal. Two substances were isolated from the plant by scientists and used in the development of antiviral and anti-cancer drugs. Right, we go back and we look at this and we say, some countries are more successful in finding cures than from marine sources. No mention about success, so we can stop there. The challenges of bioprospecting are numerous. Is there any mention there of any challenges? I don't see any challenges there. Is there anything about Cassandra Quave, Julia Kubanek, or Angela Ziltner? No mention about those three people in this paragraph. So we can stop and we can move back to the first section again and move down the text. 70 years on, this field of research has expanded rapidly. Today, diverse forms of undersea life, from coral to cone snails, provide the basis for pharmaceuticals and materials that can treat a host of human health conditions. Some countries are more successful. No mention. It takes time and considerable effort to achieve desired bioprospecting results. No mention. Nothing about the challenges of bioprospecting, and there's no mention of these three people here. So we can go and continue with the next paragraph. You'll notice now that as we start to remember ideas, as we start to remember questions, the reading gets faster. And I promise you, it seems like it's going slowly today, and it is going slowly because I'm talking a lot about it. But when you do it in practice, and when you apply this particular strategy, it will get faster and faster and faster, and it will make your life a lot more easy in the test. Please make sure that you like this video if you do think it's a good method for reading. Next, we'll go to the next paragraph. Tapping the ocean for its medicinal bounty has been a slow process, not least because of the nature of the environment itself. The capability to reach, observe, and explore the underwater world has only been fulfilled in recent decades with the advent of scuba equipment and remotely operated vehicles. But the tides are changing. Various factors are now providing a real impetus for marine bioprospecting. So there are a few problems in there, so I'm thinking that maybe there might be an answer in there. Let's have a look. Some countries are more successful. No mention. It takes time and considerable effort to achieve desired bioprospecting results. Let's have a look again. It says, tapping the ocean for its medicinal bounty has been a slow process. Yeah, it says, I think it says clearly there that it's a slow process, and this whole paragraph is relating to bioprospecting. You can see there, and on the left we've got bioprospecting not least because of the nature environment. It's been a slow process. I think that gives us the answer to question 5. That's true. And what I want to show you now is if you have found an answer for question 3, which we have, if you have found an answer for question 5, which we have, we know that the answer to question 4 is going to be between those two sections in the text. If you can't find it, that's a really good indication that it's not given. Between question 3 and question 5 in the text, you will find question 4. We can't find it, so therefore we know that question 4 is not given. And that makes our life really easy. And as I've said to you, 99% of all true, false, not given questions are in order. So you can use this method and say, okay, I found question 3, I found question 5. Later, we shouldn't spend time doing it, but I'm going to go back and make sure that question 4 is not somewhere between those two questions in the text. Good, so we've finished all of the true, false, not given questions, which is wonderful. Now, we don't stop there. We have to look at this one. It says, firstly, there is a need for new drugs since something to antibiotics. I don't think we read anything about antibiotics in this particular section on the left, did we? There was nothing about antibiotics there, so we can move on. And I don't think that we read anything about these 3 people, which is great. So we can go back to the text. And this is something that I should really hammer home to you. Don't spend time looking for answers. If you can't find an answer on the first go, don't worry. Just continue reading, answer all the questions that you can, and then in the space that you have at the end, because your reading speed has improved, you can go back and look for that particular question. Alrighty. Good. First, there's a pressing need for new pharmaceuticals. Accelerating antibiotic resistance is considered by the World Health Organization to be a severe threat to global well-being. Now, you can see on the question on the left, it says firstly, and in the text, it says first, which sometimes will be a good clue. What do you think is the answer for question 6? Have you got an answer to question 6? What do you think it is? Have a go, see what you think. Try question 6. Lots of you are surprised by the strategy for true, false, not given. So this will be for 99% of the answers. So you will continue reading, and if you can't find an answer, just go back and check it later. It will be between 3 and 5. There are some very, very, very occasional times when the last question in the true, false, not given maybe is not in order. Maybe you'll find it in the beginning. But for most of the questions in true, false, not given, they are in order. So lots of you are giving your answer now. Margaret says, amazing strategy. Thanks, Margaret. Pani says resistance, and Windbreaker says resistance. Remembrance says acceleration. I don't think that's even in the text. Sorry. Pearl says resistance. Layla says resistance. Oh, sorry, I hid the text. Sorry, with your chat. I wanted to see all your chat. I'll turn off the chat now. There we go. My fault. Forgive me. And this is an example where you should be really careful that you spell the word correctly, and be careful. If you're doing the paper-based test, I want you to write in capital letters, please. If you're doing it by hand, spelling is really critical in the test, and so therefore write in capital letters for listening and for reading, always. And lots of you are coming back with Hashit says resistance, and loads of you coming with resistance. I don't see any spelling mistakes, which is great. Lots of you coming with good answers. Thank you. So we've got the correct answer, which is resistance to antibiotics. Resistance. Excellent. Super, super, super. Well done to you all. Now, we don't stop there. Remember that when we read a small section, we don't stop there. We have to look at the next question, because maybe we'll find the next question in there. Resistance to antibiotics is posing a serious issue, as noted by the World Health Organization. Another problem relates to blank, which occurs when marine resources are stolen. Did we read anything in the text here about something which is stolen? No, I don't think that came up. So, boasting a repertoire of unusual compounds, marine species offer myriad possibilities in the search for chemicals that could lead to the development of drugs. Then there's a 2014 international agreement which aims to ensure that the benefits arising from research into genetic, plant and animal material are fairly shared. It also strengthens the sovereignty of countries over their own biodiversity, making biopiracy, taking resources without permission, more difficult. So we've got this section here, and let me know if you find an answer for question 7. By the way, we didn't check question 10, 11 and 12 because we didn't see the names of those 3 people. So we can avoid that question. We've already finished the true, false, not given, and we should be thinking about the end of the question, which is those 3 people. Who is going to give me the correct answer? Mahfouz says, no spelling mistakes thanks to the Samsung keyboard. Mahfouz, unfortunately in the test, you don't have your spelling, your spell checker or your phone with you. So you do have to make sure that you copy those words in the real test. But yes, you're right today. Akua says biopiracy. Pani says biopiracy. Dakshita says biopiracy. Windbreaker says biopiracy. Jaden says biopiracy. Loads of you coming through with the correct answer this time. And hopefully you will see there that we've got lots of the answers are correct here, because we have taken those 2 words which mean the same thing. If we look at the text, we can say that another problem which occurs when marine resources are stolen. Wonderful. And then on the left we've got taking resources without permission. And this is one thing that I will say to you. In the reading test, the answer will sometimes be a word which you don't know. Okay? Because, like for the word biopiracy, you don't know that word. It's not a common word. Most native speakers won't use that word. But what you can do is you can say that all the words around it, like the words stolen and taken, all of those words you know. So those will always be words. So very occasionally, the answer to the question is sometimes really difficult because it's a word that you don't know. But what I'm saying to you is, don't worry if you're reading your text and you find words that you don't know. That's not a bad thing. You don't need to understand them, because they will never be used to find the answer. They may be the answer, but they will not be used to find the answer. So you don't have to have a high level knowledge of specialized words in medical research or science or technology or engineering. You don't need to be you don't need to have a high level knowledge of those things, but you may use one of their high level words as an answer. So it's really important. This is a good example, biopiracy. You don't need to know the word itself, but you need to know it as an answer, because you've used the word stolen and you've used the word taken, and you've matched those up together, and it becomes easy to guess. So I'm going to show you that would be, the answer would be biopiracy. Don't forget as well to copy it just like it is in the text. If I can see my keyboard. I can't see my keyboard. Oh my god, my spelling is terrible today. There we go, there's biopiracy, and we found that somewhere over here. And we've just matched those up. And again, if you like this strategy, please give this video a like. I hope that when you use it in reality in the test, it will really improve your accuracy. And again, this is a warning. The first time, the second time, the third time that you do this strategy, it may take you a little bit longer, but the more you do it, the more you will get accustomed to it, the more it will become natural, and the easier it becomes, and your accuracy will improve. Now, did we read anything about those 3 women in here? No, we didn't. So we don't have to go any further. And then it says, lastly, we see the depletion of something which are often included in smartphones and green technologies. Did we read anything about smartphones, technology, anything like that? No, we didn't. So we know that the answer is not here yet. Technologies are depleted. Eyes are turning to the sea as a potential new source. But deep sea species are little known, fragile, and can have limited distributions. So there's our finally. Can you tell me what the answer for question 8 is? And don't forget that you should read the question which says no more than 1 word from the passage. And remember, in the reading test, you should never change the word from the text. The reading will never rely on you to change the word. Like, for example, the word develop. You will never need to know the word development. It will always just be the word develop if it's coming from the text. So you don't need to change words. It should be exactly like you find it in the text. Good. And who's going to come to me with the answer? Harshit says minerals. Loads of you coming with the right minerals there, which is nice. Car and Mila says distributions, not the right answer. And it says here, if we look at the text. Here we go. It says, lastly, we see the depletion of something which are, there's a really big clue there. I should always point out that when you're doing the reading, and if it's a summary completion or if it's a short answer question, it's really useful to look at the verb and to see whether it matches. So it says that something is, we would never say minerals is. So that wouldn't be the correct answer. But in this case, it says something are. Are is plural. So therefore, we know that it has to be in the plural form, and minerals would match here. And again, we wouldn't change the word to match the question. We would simply take it from the text and put it in the question. So the answer here would be minerals. And that's a good way to check whether you have the right answer. I hope that is useful for you. There are lots and lots and lots of other sample reading questions, just short ones, which you can find here on the IELTS Daily website. It's IELTS-daily.com, and if you want to do the reading quizzes, which you'll find here, lots of them, you can choose the type of question that you want to do. We post new ones on social media very often, I just want to talk about something which it came up in a reading homework we posted yesterday, and lots of people said, why is this not the answer? Why? One thing that's really important when you're doing your when you're giving your answer, if you have to fill a gap fill or a summary completion, a completion exercise, you should not repeat ideas because they're trying to trick you. The IELTS exam is written in such a way that it tries to trick you. Let me try and get the answer, the question that I did yesterday. I made a question yesterday, and this was a good example where we had repeated ideas. On the screen now, you should be able to see this question, and I'll make it a bit bigger actually so that you guys can see it. Give me 1 second. Here we go. So I'll just make it bigger, and hopefully you can see that on the screen now. Wonderful. Let me zoom in. Now, this particular question said, number one, it said, question one, the something that a child learns in has an effect on their IQ score. The something that a child learns in. Now, if I show you the answer, and this is a really important point, we shouldn't be repeating ideas. You can see that the answer is environment. That's the environment. Now, many students looked at the text and they found something called, in the text it said educational environment. We'll have a look at that now, and you can see that on the screen. It says, right there, it says educational environment. Can you all see that? Educational environment here. The problem is that the question says, if we look, it says, the environment that a child learns in. This idea of learning in, the learning part relates to education and educational. So what you shouldn't be doing, if I said the educational environment that a child learns in is a repetition of ideas, and I don't want you to do that in the test. I want you to just focus on the most important word, which was environment. The environment that a child learns in, and the learning in relates to the educational. And this is a trick that the IELTS test will use very often. It's repetition of ideas, and we don't want to see repetition of ideas because that's going to be a trick that they're kind of trying to catch you out on. I hope that was useful. Gosh, we've been going for an hour. I know we only did one of these today, but I talked through it a lot, and I hope that this reading strategy was something that you will benefit from. Don't forget, if you like this video, please give the video a thumbs up so that we can share it. Share it with your friends. If you're in an IELTS class in your city, or if you're going to an academy, or if you're going to a school and you know other people who are preparing for the test, make sure that you share this video with them. It's a really important strategy. The more you do it, the easier it will become, the faster that you will be able to do it. And I hope your reading score will improve quickly. Now then, if you are a superstar member, you can join this channel. As I mentioned before, I'll show you on here. You can join and become a member. If you want to become a member, all you need to do is come over to the IELTS Daily channel. There is a button here called Join, and you will see there that it says want to join this channel. You can join and become a member. You can become a starter member or a superstar member. The benefits of that is that if you're a starter member, you get access to all our old live videos, which are members only. If you want to become a superstar member, it's really cheap, and you get 2 pieces of writing feedback every month, and it will give you detailed feedback on how you can improve. Now, just to let you know, also every Wednesday after this class, if you're a Superstar member, you get invited to a special Zoom class with me, and we will answer questions related to things that you might have on your mind. So if you want to become a Zoom Superstar member, I highly recommend it. You can have a class after this with me. So if you are a Superstar member, you know where the link is, you know how to register, and I will see you right after this class. Otherwise, thank you very much for coming along today. I thoroughly hope that you enjoyed this class and that you were able to learn something. If you did, give the video a like, and I'll come and say goodbye to you all. Now, where are you all? Let me see where you all are. There you all are. Hello. Really good to have you all in class. I really hope that you enjoy this lesson. And somebody says, TT Nang says, the strategy is effective. Welcome to Fong. He's just joined as an IELTS starter. Thank you very much, Fong. You're welcome to join this. You'll get access to all our old videos. Margaret says, you'd like to give 1,000 thumbs up. Well, just share it with your friends, Margaret. If you think that's a good strategy, just share it with your friends. Thank you very much for all of your time today. Karini just became a starter. Welcome, Karini. Nice to see you all. And I will see you all next Wednesday. Every Wednesday we have this live class. Take care of yourself.